Previously on Town Hall 10 Free to Play, we discussed items you should avoid in the League shop. Today we have a new event to complete, so let's work with some witch armies. Here's what's interesting about changing attack strategies. You gotta practice them if you intend on using them properly, because I'm telling you what, when you first change, you almost think they are ineffective. Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Joe. Welcome back for episode 40 of the Town Hall 10 Free to Play series. This is a progression series where we play through all the daily struggles of Town Hall 10 and try out new armies like the Gobo Witch. Now, this army is not new by any means, but we have not used it in this series. So we upgraded our witches to level 3 a few weeks back, and yesterday we upgraded our golems to level 5, so we're going to be putting them into action for this specific event. We have the Witchslap event that's currently live in the game, and we get a free research potion. Definitely love free potions. I'm not even gonna lie about that. So we got 4 attacks that we're gonna do. Might not do all of them in this video because even though the witches are cheaper, the time to train them is not reduced. It still takes a really long time to train this army, and I also need to start working on recouping the dark elixir that I spent on my archer queen yesterday to put the barbarian king back down for upgrades. So it's kind of counterproductive using a witch army trying to steal dark elixir. Now, one of the things that you need to understand is that if you are changing armies, you need to practice that army a little bit more before trying to go into a clan war and applying it. Even watching a YouTube video, this applies to myself as well, because over the last couple of weeks, we've used P.E.K.K.A.s and Hog Riders. So shifting into a witch army is a completely different dynamic with different weaknesses that you have to pay attention to. And so not every single attack is a 3-star attack. I was working with the Frozen Witch a little bit, and then I transitioned into the Gobo Witch. And so with this army in particular, this is the Frozen Witch, which you have a bunch of witches, about 14 or 15 of them, and about 5 free spells. And so ideally you need bases that have single target Inferno towers, and the Wizard towers are easily accessible and you can get rid of them as quickly as possible. This very much relates to a Town Hall 9 witch attack with the witches on the outsides and then the witches behind the wall wrecker to go inside the base. Now, I do not believe I had the Barbarian King on this attack, but we did have the right parameters, meaning that there was a wizard tower at the beginning of the attack, there's a wizard tower over here that we have to get rid of, and both of the Inferno towers are set to single target mode, and there was no clan castle troops to deal with. So these are some things that you have to be aware of, because the wizard tower is quite possibly one of the most dangerous defenses against the witches. The same thing applies with the multi-target Inferno tower. It roasts the spawn troops in the skeletons, which ultimately leaves the witches very vulnerable. So you have to be aware of these things. You'll notice that over on the right side of the screen, I am freezing that wizard tower. That way the witches don't get taken out, because wizard tower is going to take out the skeletons, and then they're going to start targeting the witches and get rid of them. And once the witch dies, you no longer have skeletons. It's quite simple to apply. Same thing applies over here where the bomb tower is located, as well as the wizard tower. Now, if you use witch armies, which one is your favorite army to use? Drop it down in the comments below, and that way we can all try to test out new armies that you might be applying down in the comments and see what works for us, because every player is different and you might not like armies like this. A lot of players do not like the witch. They are a very spammy type troop, and a lot of players tend to avoid them because they don't want to be, no skill spammer, so to speak. So we're going to go ahead and finish up this attack. That way you can see the army for yourself, and we're going to take a look at a different army and then do one live. For this next army, all we did was replace the healers and add 2 golems to block for the witches on the outer perimeter of the base. And so when it comes to these types of bases, I'm up in Champions League. I'm basically hitting whatever I can find, because this is only really good against Town Hall 10s. I would not necessarily recommend it against a Town Hall 11, that's for sure. All right, so we're going to go ahead and approach this base from the bottom side, because you really want to target the core with the wall wrecker to get rid of the Inferno towers as quickly as possible. So on the bottom side of the base, we have 1 single golem that's going to block for a pair of wizards and about 3 witches. The same thing is happening over on the left side of the screen with the golem blocking for the witches and the wizards. Now we're going to place the Barbarian King and the wall wrecker, and it looks like about 6 or 7 witches backed up by a few wizards to start working their way inside the base. The weaknesses of this army are very similar to the previous replay with the wizard towers, the clan castle troops, and the multi-target Inferno towers, as well as those bomb towers. Those are also quite devastating versus the witches. But the one thing about this army that I personally like is that the golems block for the witches, and without the healers, then it's just kind of one of those things. The witches with the healers, it leaves the witches heavily exposed, and once the spawn units are taken out, you are heavily reliant on the witch getting healed back up by the healer. But at least with the golem, they are able to block for the witches, and these level 5s serve a very good purpose because they have incredibly high hit points. So you're going to notice that those bowlers, the king, and the witches in the core were able to eliminate the Inferno Towers as well as the Town Hall, and they have basically swept the right side of the base, and then they're going to work their way back towards the jump spell. The jump spell is very, very highly recommended to help your troops to get to the back side of the base, because without it, they're going to get caught up on a wall and spend entirely too much time getting roasted by other defenses. Using the freeze spell over there to shut down that wizard tower for a moment and giving the troops some time to take it out, but this is basically how you would put this army into action. From here, we're going to go out into a live raid. All right, so this looks like a pretty suitable Town Hall 10. The only thing missing here is the level 11 walls. Looks like everything else is maxed out. All right, so let's go ahead and drop a wizard on the top side of this base, and everything appears to be quite symmetrical on this base, so we're going to see what we can do. Now remember, we do not have our queen, so we do have a slightly reduced army. Let's go ahead and place our wizards and our golems and drop another wizard over there, as well as the witches. We're going to try to clear out some of the right and the left side of this base, and then we're going to place our king in this location and back it up with witches, identifying a giant bomb in that placement. That works out very nicely, and it appears that we have a few wizard towers and bomb towers in this location as well. So you're going to notice that the bomb tower is targeting our witches, and the golems are going to cut inside the base, so that's not necessarily the best thing either. Multi-target Inferno Tower as well as a queen, but there is no clan castle troops, so that's a good thing for us. We're going to have to use that king's ability to get rid of that wizard tower, and we're going to go and place a rage spell in the core as well as a heal spell. And let's go ahead and drop our jump spell on this location to move these troops through the base. Looks like the witches are on the right side, but we have only a few left on the left side, so that's not necessarily the best thing. We're going to need to go ahead and save this freeze spell. Let's go ahead and use it right there to get rid of that wizard tower, but there's also another wizard tower on the opposite side. But you're going to notice that the multi-targets really serve as a very dangerous defense for your witches because they roast basically everything. Now, one of the things that I don't like about witch armies is that you don't have the flanking troops like the Hog Riders. That's one of the things that I really love about that P.E.K.K.A. Hog Rider attack, is that you can flank the back end of the base with your hogs and eliminate the defenses a lot faster. But again, you're heavily reliant. This is a very one-sided army, but so far we're looking okay. We got witches over on the right side taking down an archer tower, and we got skeletons destroying a few buildings on the outside. Looks like our troops are going to cut out on the outside of the base and then come around the bottom side, but there were no clan castle troops as we kind of expected. Seems like a lot of players up in Masters League are not getting clan castle troops, but it is what it is. So we have a few witches remaining, and looks like we are losing our golemite. We have one golemite remaining, but we have a bunch of skeletons here to distract that final cannon, and that's where this is really going to come into play. The spawn numbers are going to take out the final point defense. So that's one 3-star live on this video. That's a good thing, right? All right, so we managed to push our way back up into Champions 2, and this is quite possibly the best Town Hall 10 that I could find. Everything else has been Town Hall 11, so we're going to finish out the video on this attack here. Now, practical uses of this army. This is more of a clan war army. Don't use it for farming, and if you are trophy pushing, expect to spend a lot of dark elixir as well as collecting it, because we have 6,000 dark elixir available on this base. So we're going to go ahead and start out with a similar pattern with our golem and our wizard to start clearing, and we're going to place a few witches back behind that one. And let's go ahead and drop one on this location, dropping a few wizards to assist over here and some witches over here to start clearing out some exterior buildings. Now we're going to go ahead and drop that king, and we have obviously a weaker Town Hall 10, so I know some of you are going to possibly identify that, and we're going to do our best to 3-star it. No promises though. This army is just one of those things that you have to worry about. Now, somebody gave me a freeze spell instead of a poison spell. That is not cool. All right, so we're going to have to try to maneuver through this. Let's go ahead and drop a rage spell in this location to speed our troops up to get rid of that electro dragon. It is currently distracted, but it's also going to do damage to our wizards and witches. Now, we do have the bowlers in the core. Let's go ahead and get a heal spell down for them to assist them through this location, and they need to get rid of these expos as well as these inferno Inferno Towers. Let's go ahead and freeze this location. Give our troops some time. We got to use that king's ability, and unfortunately, this is not looking very promising. Let's go ahead and drop a jump spell on the backside of this base and at least get the Dark Elixir off of it, because I do believe that this is going to be the final attack for me with the Witch armies, because I need to start farming Dark Elixir to put my Barb King back down for upgrade. But you're going to notice that one of the things about this army in particular, this one, is that golems don't always follow the line down of walls and block for your witches. This one down here on the bottom side, he's kind of confused. He doesn't know what to do. We do have one that managed to make his way inside the base, but he's the smart one. The other guy's trying to figure it out still. Still got a few defenses remaining on this base, and we have no more spells, no more bowlers, and a Barb King is no longer with us. And also the Archer Queen is definitely still asleep. So I don't necessarily feel like this army is a great army without the heroes, but you got to try it out just to see. I mean, I haven't really used a lot of these witch armies without the heroes involved, and I know that's one of those questions that a lot of players continue to ask is, can you use these armies without the witches or without the heroes? Now, we did prove yesterday in last episode that the P.E.K.K.A.s and Hog Riders do very well without the King and the Queen. But obviously right here in this situation, it looks like the witches are going to fail us because they're on the outside of the base now. They're trying to crack through. Looks like we have lost our golem that managed to stay inside the base, and you'll see that the witches are being targeted by the point defenses now. So you know what? It is what it is. You got to do what you got to do and make the best of it. The biggest thing is that we took 6,000 Dark Elixir away from this base, and that is really all that matters in this situation. But again, this results back to where you need to practice your armies and get a good feel for it. That way you're not just dumping your spells wherever, and you understand the full mechanics of the attack. The witches are going to get taken out, and once the witch is taken out, that's basically the end of the raid. So we're going to go ahead and pull from that, and I need to spend some of my gold. So here's what I'm doing with the base right now. The king is back up. We did finish out the event, and we did gain a free resource potion, so we're going to go ahead and use that to speed up our laboratory and take that wizard down a day. And we're going to go ahead and drop a hidden Tesla to burn off some of this gold, and that way in the next 15 hours I should have the Dark Elixir in order to put the king back down. If not, we'll do it in tomorrow's episode, but we'll definitely be using a different army for that. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you leave a like on the video and subscribe if you have not done so already. And if you enjoy watching us every single day, turn on those notifications. If you need any additional video support or a different army to try out, click one of those links over there, and we will see you in the next one, guys. Take care.